we're going to talk all about finding short-term accommodations in New York. If you all have watched my last video, you all know that I am now living in New York, and the way in which I wanted to do it is a little bit different, a little chaotic. Hopefully these tips and tricks and these platforms will help you all out, because if somebody told me this 2 months ago, I would be in a way better position, but we're here and that's why I'm going to help you out. Basically, the culture of New York is to live in a shared space. You're going to have a roommate or roommates if you can't afford to pay rent on your own. It's something that you may have to sacrifice initially just to get here, or just sacrifice in general if you want to be able to hold on to your money, hold on to your coins. People choose to live with roommates so that they can actually enjoy the city, or they can actually save or pay off debt, or whatever the case is. So when I was looking for my accommodations, I basically posted in a Facebook group, and these girls kept talking about Kiki, like go on Kiki, go on Kiki. I went on there, and basically Kiki wants to make sure that you're legit and the person that's renting to you is legit. So it verifies you through your Instagram profile. Now, if you're like me, you create content, you're a little bit more personal on your Instagram, you may not like this because the person's going to see all your business, you're going to see all their business, but I like the fact that I get to verify someone and see if they are who they are or what kind of things they post. You'll be messaging that host through Instagram, so that's pretty interesting. Obviously, just like Airbnb, you can set your budget, you can set if you are looking for a place with your partner. And unfortunately for me, I found a place that I really liked. I messaged the guy, but the listing fell through because he didn't respond. He ended up messaging me like a week later, like, are you still interested? I'm so sorry. But it was done. So this is one of the options I would not recommend for last minute. I would say, if anything, maybe 2-3 weeks, a month or two out. People post maybe a month ahead of time. So you may not find accommodations. Let's say you want to move in June. You may not see any posts on Kiki for June right now. The next platform I want to mention is good old Facebook Marketplace. Now, you all know I used this when I did my lease takeover in Atlanta, and it's no exception. It's the same concept in New York. Basically, people post their room or their apartment. Most of the times they put all of the information, where it's located, transit, and all of that. But once again, I like the fact that you kind of have control in terms of, you can message someone, you can ask them what train it's nearby. I like to ask, like, hey, you know, what's a coffee shop? What's a grocery store? This apartment is nearby. Is it a walk up? So, you know, is it 4 or 5 flights of stairs? Maybe you have bad knees and you can't do that, then that's something you need to know. Is it a modern building? You know, you can get into all of the questions, and obviously you can negotiate the price. Most of the time, people add a couple $100s to the price, and you don't want to get played. Depending on the apartment, the roommate situation, I just feel like it's a good platform to be able to negotiate. Some people won't budge, some people will budge. A matter of fact, I would even say on Facebook Marketplace, people may not answer you at all. And I hate to say it, but most of the time, being a person of color, just having to deal with the whole stigma, people don't know who you are, people have like 100 people messaging them. I don't know what it is, and I don't want to draw any conclusions, but people just don't answer, and that's just what it is. Do not take offense. This is a major key. Join Facebook groups for the specific areas in which you want to live. So let's say you want to live in East Village. There's a group for that. Let's say you're a person of color trying to find accommodations in New York. There's a group for that. If you want to live in Bushwick, there's a Bushwick group. If you want to live in downtown, there's a downtown group. Like, there's groups specifically for when you want to move, and even the time periods, right? Join those and post an ad. You can put a little bit about yourself, your budget, the areas in which you want to live, and people will write you. I only found this out last minute after all the stress I dealt with. I spoke a little bit about this in my previous video, and I'll talk about it again. but I legitly went to see an apartment, spoke with the owner. We had back and forth, we FaceTime so I can meet her roommate. I would be taking over her room, this whole thing, right? She then goes to me, well, you know what? I need all of the payment up front. If they're asking for a deposit, the deposit should not be first, last. This is not an apartment, okay? You know, I don't want to go into details because I feel like I'm going to get triggered again. But that was a complete waste of time. And that's why I gave you all the tips in terms of negotiating, in terms of like, hey, what are the house rules? How will payment be processed? Do not pay for anything unless you go and see it, unless you have keys in your hand, or unless you have key exchange information. If anyone is trying to push you to give money right away, more than likely it's a scam, or more than likely you're just not going to get that money back. So I didn't want to mention that. But anyways, back to the positive. So being in the groups, people will write you like, hey, I saw your ad for XYZ. I have a room. This is where it's located. And once again, you ask them the same questions. Can I have a grocery store or coffee shop that it's near to? What trains run in that area? You want to curate your experience because at the end of the day, you're paying money and you want to live somewhere where you're comfortable, whatever your needs are. So ask them damn questions.
Editing Amina here. So I can't believe I forgot to mention SpareRoom. I didn't have any luck with this platform in particular just because the time periods didn't match with what I was finding, but I think this is one of the apps I would use, or the platforms I would use, if you're a couple or if you're looking for a room or apartment with a friend or friends. I like the fact that the filter, you literally can choose if you want your roommates to be men, women, or if you want the space to be furnished, unfurnished, if you want the space to be LGBTQ plus. You can put all of the preference here, and you also can have searchable presets. So basically, if you want to have certain criterias for Manhattan, you can create that and save it. If you have certain criterias, like I'm showing you in the clips for Brooklyn, let's say, you can create that and save it. And then every day or ever so often, you can check the criteria to see if anything new has come up. I also like the fact that you're able to message the host or message the person that's renting their apartment or room. So you can ask them about transit, ask them about the house rules or any deposits or anything that they will require. Also, on the listings, it does show the deposit that the person is requiring. Of course, I always say feel free to negotiate, ask them if the price is set in stone. But yeah, I just wanted to go ahead and mention SpareRoom because I definitely think it's another gem platform. Alrighty.
Now don't click off. I know you all have heard about Airbnb. We all have. But in New York, it's a little bit different. And this would be the safer option, I would say, if you're someone that doesn't want to try any of the other platforms I'm going to mention. Just know that more than likely your Airbnb will be in a shared space. But I like the fact that most Airbnb hosts do cater to longer term stays. And the way Airbnb works, we all know this. You book your Airbnb, the host accepts it, you go. If it's not what you like, obviously you can work with Airbnb. Also with Airbnb long stays, if you're staying for a month to 3 months, you're paying in intervals as if you would be paying rent. So you're not paying all of the money up front. You'll probably pay for a month up front, and then there'll be a period where you pay for the second month and the third month. I always say to read the reviews. Read the reviews, I'm talking about all of them, because somewhere in there, you may see a negative thing or two, but if it's constantly a mention of something specifically, don't do it. If they talk about like this place has lots of roaches and like, I don't know, 12 people have mentioned that, that's somewhere that has roaches. But I think reading reviews is so important. Also, a lot of people like the fact that you're making a reservation through a platform. So if anything goes wrong, there's somewhat of a security there. I 100% recommend messaging the host. Like, it's free to message the host. You can ask them about the location. Like, is there a train nearby? What train is it? Give me a grocery store, give me a coffee shop, or some sort of public landmark so I can know where this apartment is. More than likely they won't give you the address, and I don't think they can even give you the address, but you do want to know where you're staying as far as Airbnb goes too. So that's definitely a tip I wanted to add in there. The next platform that I have is a platform called Diggz. It's Diggz. Basically, you're able to fill out your profile according to your lifestyle. So do you smoke? Do you drink? Are you super clean? Are you messy? Do you work late or not? Do you work from home or not? You create your profile, your budget, the area you want to live in, and people will actually contact you, or you can contact people for their rooms or apartments. Or what I like about this one is the fact that you can team up with someone else who also has that budget or have that similar like profile, and y'all can go look for a place together. So Diggz is pretty cool. I actually forgot about that one, but I just didn't have any luck. Literally, I posted my profile and people would come to me with things that were like $500-600 over my budget. I really wasn't with that. And then two, if you're moving with a friend or with a significant other, I would definitely say Diggz is not the one, only because it looks like it's more of an individual platform, whereas Kiki, obviously Facebook Marketplace, you can ask about couples or ask about a friend, right? The radiator is gonna come on in like 2.5. Warm it up then, warm it up. So I just want to conclude this video and talk a little bit about scams and things to look out for. You all know your girl has some skin in the game. And you know, there's a fine line between moving in faith, moving in like your belief. Do not give money to people you do not know without seeing the place. If you can't see the place, that's what FaceTime is for. Have them send you a video, so even when you're on FaceTime, you can compare the video. Zelle is non-refundable, okay? Zelle is non-refundable, and nobody is going to save you once that money is sent. So as far as a deposit goes, like I mentioned, there should never be first month, last month security. This is not an apartment. For instance, if you're coming here and you have an Airbnb booked, I would say have 2 more Airbnbs as a backup. Message the host, get information about the space, like where it's located and all of that. So if anything goes left with that particular Airbnb, you have 2 more lined up, or you have a hotel where you can go for a night or 2 while you figure things out. I think it's just important to be extremely prepared. As far as Facebook goes, or just any of these platforms, people are flaky. So you always have to have 1 option, 2 options, 3 options, and it will work out. Like, I know I said some really scary things in this video, but don't allow that to stop you. You all know I'm a huge advocate for just facing your fears and doing what you have to do, whether it's for a better opportunity, whether it's to make yourself happy, or just to complete something on your bucket list. We choose to live in delusion over here. Like, I don't have it all figured out. This could just be like a flop. You have to take a chance on yourself, and I think it's way more easier to do so with platforms like Kiki, with Facebook, with Diggz, even Craigslist. Now, I personally won't recommend it. I've had friends that have used that platform, had no issues, but again, I think it's just so important to get here as opposed to signing a year lease when you're in another state, because you don't know where you're going to end up. Even if you, let's say, get a job here in New York and you have to move here, get an Airbnb for a month. No one has to know your situation but you. You know what I'm saying? Just don't rush into getting an apartment just for getting an apartment. Like, it's not the kind of place to do that. It's not the kind of place to do that unless you are renting with a actual apartment company here. Maybe that's a little different because, you know, it's an actual company that has an apartment building. Then again, I don't have it all figured out. Like I said, I'm here for a few months, really deciding if this is where I want to be. If you want to follow my journey, Feel free to subscribe, like, comment down below how you found accommodations here. Comment down below if there are any other platforms that you recommend. If you all need any help, click the link in my bio. We can work together one-on-one. I also have like different resources. Good luck, happy living. I'm sending good vibes, good energy. I'm out. All right.